Hello, I'm Maritza of the Sibyl Heart, and welcome to this tarot reading for the Pluto retrograde season. It is starting now all the way through October 13th. And just to remind everyone, this particular reading is for the general collective. There are no signs involved, unless the reading itself brings them up. But this reading is for anyone who wants to listen to it. All of my readings are for entertainment purposes and personal enlightenment purposes only. Please do not use these readings to self-diagnose or to replace any kind of professional advice. If you need advice from a professional, please do seek them out. The way that I want you to approach this reading is kind of like you're having a conversation with a friend. Like, you don't always listen to everything they have to say. You take or leave whatever they say to you. You don't always heed their advice and don't always listen. So it's the same thing here. Okay, so for Pluto retrograde, what is the message for Pluto in retrograde? We have the Seven of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Five of Pentacles. Okay. All right, so I'm seeing that you've woken up from a fantasy, and reality is not at all, it's not even close to the fantasy you were building in your head. But there is something, the term I want to use is there is a grain of truth in the fantasy, where something can grow in reality from it, but it won't be exactly like the dream that you had. And then the fact is, to even get to a point where it's close, where reality is as close to your vision as you saw it, it's going to be really difficult to get there. You're going to have really tough challenges to overcome. But if you really want this, if you really want the reality of the fantasy, then you'll get there. You'll climb mountains, you'll do what it takes, but it's going to be really difficult. So I think by the grain of truth, I'm getting the sense that the dream that you were living in your head, there is a truth to it that, like, it's a part of who you really are, but you still have a long way to go to get to that point. Then we have the Four of Pentacles. Interesting. We have the Seven of Wands. And we have the Two of Pentacles. So lots of pentacles. So this is a very true to your core message. Whatever it is that you were living in your fantasy life, it is something that you want, but you do have to realize that it's not going to be exactly that. Because reality, it's quite different. The ideal is not always possible in the real. The other thing I'm seeing now with these three other cards out on the table is that you may be holding on to something that is just a dream. Like it is impossible for it to become reality. And with the Seven of Wands here, I'm thinking that it's an unhealthy in the sense that, like, you're always stressing out about it. You're always stressing out about what you have to do next in order to get closer to this dream. And you're, like, what I'm seeing is you're trying to fit a schedule around being able to achieve this dream, but it's just not possible. And usually I feel like I read the Two of Pentacles as a sort of positive card, but in this case I'm seeing it as sort of a negative card where your struggle, it's like a really deep struggle that you have, that you can't find the balance where things don't feel as stressful in achieving whatever the fantasy life you want to achieve. Okay. have the Fool card. We have another two, the Two of Swords, and the Page of Wands. So there are moments when taking the risk does make you play out into the Fool. And I mean that like as not a compliment. Like you take the risk and now you've been played a fool because reality has something different for you. Like it's not going to play out the way that you were hoping. But the other thing is that you took the risk. That's very, very brave. But you do have to accept that that's not going to mean that you're going to have success at it, at whatever the dream is. And that's going to be really, I think that's the struggle, is you're going to have a really hard time accepting that even though you took the risk to get as close to this dream as possible, you still did not succeed. And I think this may be the final straw where you kind of not necessarily give up on the dream, but you reach an understanding where the dream isn't going to play out the way that you were hoping for. And so you're going to look for, with the Two of Swords, you're going to look for different ways to keep that dream alive. And, combining the Two of Swords and the Page of Wands, you're going to start over, but with new wisdom. Knowing that achieving the fantasy life is for at least this time around is not possible. Maybe you can try again another time and you will succeed at that, but right now things are not conducive to making the dream flourish into reality. Let's see. So, in terms of astrology, we have the Fool is Uranus. That is the Uranus rules Aquarius, and then we have the Page of Wands, which is fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Three of Pentacles. Okay, so this is what I'm getting from these three cards. This is like after you have this realization that the dream isn't going to become a reality, what are you going to do next, right? So I think what these three cards are saying is that you're going to think more clearly about your future, what you actually really want, rather than what you hope for. But that doesn't mean that you're going to give up on your dream. At least you're not going to chase after something that essentially is not giving you the light of day, but rather you're going to try and keep this dream in your life, but in a more subdued way, in a quieter way. And you, for some reason, I'm thinking like you're going to cheer on the ones who can actually make it. You're going to try and support them as much as you can. And you're going to try and cultivate the same dream in the next generation. But also, like, it's going to be something that happens organically. You're not going to like push your dreams onto, let's say, your children or anything like that. It's only going to be something like if they say that they want to try and, I don't know, let's say you wanted to be a singer and you discovered that that was just not going to be possible for you for some reason, and you end up having children, you're not going to force your dream of being a singer on your children. That's going to be something that they will have to decide for themselves. And you know this, and you feel this in your heart. And if they want to be singers and they succeed at it and they get closer and closer as they get older to becoming singers, like to actually make a living off of it, you're going to try and support them as much as you can. Like, that's the example that I'm thinking of, but this could be anything, really. The other thing I'm saying is that the fantasy that you had in your head is something that you were holding on to out of immaturity, and now you're growing into a more mature person, and you're kind of realizing that it was just a very unrealistic dream that you had, and at least for the phase in life that you are in now, it is something that is not possible for you to achieve. And so you're trying to achieve more mature goals in your life rather than chase something that was from your childhood, let's say, or your teen years. Interesting. Okay, so now in this, now we have earth signs as well into the reading. So that's Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. So those signs might be involved. Also, the planet Uranus has to do with your individual self-expression, and then your role in a friendship dynamic, or a group dynamic rather. So when we think about that, I was taking some notes earlier today, and Pluto has to do with shifting dynamics, especially in group settings. And so your role might be changing within a group. And you might, and what I mean by that, I feel like you might be growing away from the group. And you want to maybe go solo, if that's something that makes sense to you. One thing I'm seeing is that maybe you want to get out of whatever you're in, and you want, instead of being in the thing that you're trying to succeed at, you want to teach it. Because you see there's more hope in the next generation. You feel like there's more hope in the next generation than the one that you're in, and you want to teach them. You want to cultivate a passion for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Okay, and with the Three of Wands, what I'm seeing is that you may have a fear of getting left behind, and if you stay where you are now, you feel like that could actually happen. But if you diverge from whatever group you are in, whatever the case may be, and you take your own route, you feel like you can keep up with the movement, let's say, much better. By teaching or passing on the whatever passion or information that you have to give to the next generation. Interesting. And I think to start, it might seem like you're being left behind, and that's going to be a difficult hurdle for you to jump over. But if you keep at it, I think you'll be able to succeed at this, rather than you be the one to make your dream a reality. You're going to have to help others achieve that dream. And I think that's where your grain of truth is. That is part of your core, is that like you want to help others. You want to give help to those who want to achieve their dreams because you weren't able to. Or you weren't given the help you needed. And so now you want to give that help to others. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, yep. So that is the reading for this Pluto retrograde. Oh, I'm thinking of, I think it's Mr. Rogers who said it, is like, in times of chaos, always look for the helpers, and you want to be a helper. Yeah. Ooh, okay. So yeah, that is our reading for this Pluto retrograde. Remember to help someone today and forever. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.